At a billionaire's pool party filled with celebrities, music, and flashing lights, a disabled girl falls into the water, and no one notices. Not her father, not the guests, not the security, but one boy, a janitor's son, sees everything. And what he does next changes their lives forever. Charles Whitman was a man the world envied. A self-made billionaire, owner of one of the largest tech empires in the country. His mansion stretched across hills, his parties hosted presidents and movie stars, and his face appeared in Forbes and business magazines almost every month. But behind the success, behind the power and fortune, was a man whose heart beat only for one person, his daughter, Lily. Lily wasn't like other kids. She was born with cerebral palsy, a condition that made walking, talking, and even sitting up difficult. Doctors told Charles she'd never walk, that she may never speak. But what the doctors didn't understand was that love can make impossibilities bend. Lily couldn't say much, but she saw everything. Her eyes lit up when birds flew by. She smiled when music played. And she always had a strange way of sensing people's true character, even when others were fooled by charm and appearances. Her father adored her. He built her the best therapy room, hired world-class physiotherapists, installed ramps and lifts around the mansion. Yet, she was always alone, not because she wanted to be, but because most people were too busy, too important, or too nervous to spend time with a child they couldn't understand. Until one summer day, everything changed. It was a Friday afternoon in June. The sun blazed high and the Whitman estate was glowing. Preparations were underway for the annual Whitman Gala, the most exclusive event in the city. Guests were already arriving. Celebrities, influencers, politicians, and multimillionaires stepping out of black-tinted limousines with designer clothes and diamond jewelry, champagne fountains, ice sculptures, live jazz bands, and in the center of it all, the massive swimming pool. Crystal clear, Olympic-sized, surrounded by white marble tiles that looked like paradise. But what no one realized was that, in the middle of this spectacle, one soul was quietly observing. From a wheelchair, from the far corner of the terrace, Lily. Her nurse had left for a few minutes to assist another staff member. She wasn't supposed to be near the pool, but she had slowly wheeled herself toward the edge. The water shimmered. It mesmerized her, and as she reached forward just a little, the unexpected happened. Her wheelchair hit a cracked tile. One wheel slipped, and then silence. Just the sound of a splash. She fell and no one saw it happen. The band played louder. Guests clinked glasses. Cameras flashed. People laughed. And Lily was drowning. Her arms flailed, but she had no strength. Her condition made swimming impossible. Her mouth opened, but no scream came. The weight of her soaked dress dragged her down like chains. Seconds passed. Then a minute. Still, no one noticed. No one, except for a boy standing far in the background. A boy in a faded uniform, holding a mop. His name was Jayden, 13 years old, son of the estate's janitor. He wasn't supposed to be at the party. He wasn't supposed to be near the guests, but Jayden had always been curious. He liked to observe people, and from the shadows, he noticed the splash. He noticed the ripples. He saw the wheelchair turned over, and without a second thought, he ran. He threw off his shoes, sprinted past a crowd of influencers taking selfies, and dove headfirst into the pool. Guests gasped. Some laughed, thinking it was a prank. Others looked annoyed. Who was this kid? But Jayden didn't care. He swam deeper and deeper until he saw Lily, her body motionless near the bottom. He grabbed her with both arms and kicked his legs hard. The weight made it difficult, but Jayden had been swimming in community pools since he was 6. With every ounce of strength, he brought her up and pulled her to the edge. Help! Someone call for help, he shouted. Now the crowd realized what was happening. Panic spread. Someone called 911. 2 medics rushed in from the first aid tent. Lily's nurse screamed in horror as she arrived back. Charles Whitman came bursting through the crowd, his face white with fear. When he saw his daughter's lifeless body on the side of the pool, he dropped to his knees. But then, a cough. Then another. Lily coughed out water and gasped for breath. She was alive. Alive, because a janitor's son had saved her. Jayden stood soaked, shivering, not saying a word. His father rushed over, thinking he was in trouble. But Charles looked at Jayden, and his expression changed. He walked up to the boy. This nobody. this poor kid in a uniform, and knelt down. Without saying anything, he hugged him. A long, tight hug. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice cracking. "You saved my little girl." The entire party went silent. No one took selfies. No one sipped wine. They all stared in shock. Later that night, Jayden and his father were invited into the main hall, something that had never happened before. Charles called for everyone's attention and, in front of over 300 elite guests, he told the story of what happened. Tears ran down many faces. And then, he said something no one expected. "Today, a boy who comes from nothing did what none of us did. He saw a life that needed saving and didn't hesitate. While we sipped cocktails and laughed, he saw truth. He saw pain. And he acted." He turned to Jayden. "I owe you more than money. I owe you my daughter's life. And I want to give you something back." Right there, Charles announced that he would sponsor Jayden's education, all the way through college. He would provide him mentorship, a laptop, tutors, anything he needed to chase his dreams. But Jayden shook his head. "I don't need anything, sir. I just didn't want her to die." That moment silenced the room even more. A 13-year-old boy had just reminded the richest people in the country what real humanity looked like. But Charles insisted. "You may not need anything, but the world needs more people like you, and I'll do everything in my power to help you become the man you're meant to be." In the weeks that followed, Jayden became a local hero. News outlets ran stories about him. The boy who saved a billionaire's daughter. Schools invited him to speak. Athletes sent him messages of support, but Jayden stayed the same. Humble, quiet, kind. He visited Lily every weekend. They became friends. Even though she still couldn't speak, she would light up every time he entered the room. Jayden would sit beside her, read books to her, and play her favorite songs. Charles would watch from the doorway, eyes wet, realizing that no amount of money could buy a soul like Jayden's. Years passed. Jayden went on to attend one of the top universities in the country. He studied medicine. He became a pediatric neurologist, dedicated to helping kids like Lily. And as fate would have it, when Charles was old, frail, and sick, it was Jayden who treated him. The janitor's son had become the family's greatest blessing, not because he was a hero for one day, but because he had a heart that never stopped seeing what others ignored.